Right, welcome back to a Nosebleed Perspective, where today's guest was an absolute stud on the football field. He was an all-state D lineman from Moberly High School with some of the quickest hands I've ever seen. Our coach always used to make us watch him. It helped us. He also took some time out of his life to come down to a small school that I lived at, and helped us to make kind of a little state run. He's one of the most intelligent Chiefs, Royals, MU, Grizzly, and MMA fans I know. Anytime news breaks on any of these teams, I check his Facebook page first. Please welcome to the show, Travis Allred, baby.
Yeah, Travis.
Welcome, Travis.
What's up, fellas?
Hey, what's up, man?
Welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
For sure. So, obviously, you're wearing the Chiefs jersey. You got the flag. You got the banner. We got to talk about the two guys who just got big contracts. We know we didn't bring this up, but how do you feel about Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones, man? Their contracts.
I think that Mahomes' tweet after Chris Jones signed said everything. I mean, everybody keeps doubting him, and they keep handling it. $500 million is a lot of money. There's been 3 10-year contracts in the NFL, 4, and they have not worked out very well. But none of those teams had Mahomes and the pedigree that he comes from. When you have players like Aqib Talib after your first NFL start saying he's got an AK-47 attached to his arm, or his shoulder, come on. And find me one other player that his first year in the league is going to throw for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns, follow it up by coming back after 2 weeks after dislocating his kneecap with a 400-yard performance against the Titans defense. You can't really do much more to earn that.
Thanks.
Absolute stud.
Yeah, they had to pay the man. You can't be he's in Kansas City, Missouri. You can't let that man walk away. You can't. So
the stadium
I have no
would be
issues.
burned down.
The stadium, Arrowhead, would be burned down if Kansas City let that man walk away. So
how much do you let pass as a fan too? From a fan's perspective, he wins you a fucking Super Bowl, that doesn't just happen every year. So where's the limit? I feel like if my team won a Super Bowl, so I'm a Rams fan. We paid Jared Goff, obviously, blah blah blah. But if he would have won that Super Bowl, I wouldn't have gave 2 shits how much money they gave him. So
no, and that's that's the nature of the beast. Look at Flacco. He had a 5-game run in 2012 and got paid ridiculous money, and he never threw for more than 7.5 yards after that.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous, really. But also, the Peyton Mannings of the world. Peyton Manning went to a Super Bowl in 2006, 7, and then it was another 6 or 7 years before he went back.
Yep.
So you got to lock him down when you can. And this kid's 24 years old. He already holds multiple single game records for the Chiefs. So you got to bet on that. And that's kind of why they went with the Chris Jones contract. They're handcuffing themselves in 4 or 5 years, but right now they're all in. There's not a more talented roster in the NFL right now. Hands down. The closest maybe the Bucks, but with 40-year-old Brady, I'm not sure his walker's going to get up and down the field this year.
Big facts, man. All right, so I'm going to move on. We don't get a lot of Mizzou fans on here, so I got to talk a little Mizzou football. I apologize if I butcher this man's name, but Allred Drinkwitz. Do you think he makes, if there is college football this year or next year, do you think he makes Mizzou competitive again? Are you happy with the signing or not?
Eli Drinkwitz, by the way. But
all right, appreciate that.
I don't know, honestly. I don't hate it. He's a young guy. He's in his 30s. He was a part of the Auburn National Championship with Cam. He's almost seemed like a guy who's ridden coattails, though. He's always had a successful offense. But, last year at App State, those weren't his guys. He was there for 1 year, went 12-1, set records at App State. A program that, for the size of the school is actually pretty legit. But he came in after somebody established a culture and turn it into something.
Yeah.
He was at Auburn when they won their title. He was a quality control coach. I'm not sure what that is. Like, make sure players don't go out and party too much. I don't know. Maybe they took Cam's test.
A
I have
narc.
no idea.
Yeah, basically a snitch.
Yeah. And then Arkansas State O-line tight end coach. He didn't become a coordinator until like 2014.
Damn.
And even then, he was part of the Boise State Fiesta Bowl team.
Hey,
But again, he wasn't the main cog in the wheel. So he's always had a solid offense, but he's never been the guy that handled it. Mizzou's roster is depleted and sad, and like regardless of any of the other stuff going on in the world today, I mean, that just makes it 2 times harder.
Yeah,
You have a pretty solid secondary, and other than that, you don't have a lot. Like I'm a diehard Mizzou fan, and I have no idea who the quarterback is of that team is.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
oh,
Maybe he's sitting at Rockbridge High School right now. I don't know, but
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I got a couple friends who played a few years there, and I couldn't tell you who their quarterback was. So interesting year. Just want to get your perspective on that. We'll go back to the Chiefs though, man. What do you think their biggest weakness is that teams could expose, and what teams could expose that weakness?
honestly, it's their lulls. Like they'll start a game, they'll drop 28 points in the first quarter, and then they'll have about 36 yards for 2.5 quarters, and then another 14 in the fourth, just for fun.
Yeah.
It's like they're out there playing in the backyard with the kids down the street that have never touched a football sometimes. And then other times they're like, I think I want to go inside and play Fortnite. Like you don't really know what you're going to get. Like they don't have consistency, and that's hard to say for a Super Bowl champion team with a $500 million quarterback.
Yeah.
But even he, like sometimes he just, I got a big lead. I'll turn it on when I need to. I mean, this year's schedule, you're going to have to turn it on and keep it on.
Yeah.
I mean, Bucks, like I honestly think, I don't care how good Tom Brady is this year. I don't care how old he is. The offensive weapons they have, we're going to be in shootouts this year, even though the defense has gotten exponentially better. We were a top 7 defense in the league through the last 6 games last year. But we also, I mean, on defense, it's the same thing. You got feast or famine. It's not as bad as the Bob Sutton days when guys are out there tying their shoelaces together and picking dandelions in the corner. But,
Bad.
I mean, I think just complacency. Like, if they stay hungry, they keep winning. If they get complacent, those lulls are going to turn into losing streaks.
Yeah, I mean, do you
Especially
think
with how they started. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I mean, I was just gonna say, do you think they make those comebacks if they face like a Brady Belichick New England team again in those situations, like when they were against the Texans and that other?
That's exactly what I was going to talk about was just
okay,
how they
yeah.
went down in the playoffs. Yeah, like they were just down in the playoffs, and then just all of a sudden, bam, it's on.
I mean, do you think that even is a possibility at that point? I mean, because they were down big. It's not like they were just down a touchdown. They were.
I mean, I think they do, honestly, because if you look at the Patriots game from Mahomes' second year,
years ago. Yep.
I mean, he was down 30-9 at halftime, and they lost 40-37
Overtime.
30, yeah.
Yeah, D Ford.
D Ford, man.
D
I
Ford.
mean, I would egg D Ford's house right now.
I would be there with
He
you.
still deserves it.
he had to get the hell out of there for sure.
He had to. There's no choice.
Yeah.
Like I'll sign the franchise tag as long as you guys are trading me, right? Like
Yeah.
I can't be.
I can't be here.
That's funny.
Yeah, that was a rough game to watch, man. I was in Korea. I was up, I don't know what freaking time it was, like 6 a.m. Just my neighbors were beating on the doors because I was yelling so loud. It was frustrating, man. It was a rough day. My wife was at the game. I was pissed the whole
I
day.
got so drunk at Power and Light that I was pretty sure my girlfriend was going to leave me.
Yeah.
And, it was a bad night.
It's easy to get drunk at Power.
That's right. Yeah, and Power and Light, there's plenty of other chicks there, bro. You're way good.
I don't think that works that way.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
I'm good, fellas.
all right. So let's kind of pivot towards the NBA a little bit. It's not, very frequent that we get NBA fans on here, so I got to take advantage of this a little bit. You're a Grizzlies fan, so Ja Morant, who I've kind of been watching, I think everybody's been watching for a while now, since he became relevant at Murray State. I'm from Kentucky, so it's pretty cool when we see like a player like him at a small college like Murray or Moorhead or whatever the hell you come from to just be like, I mean, he's number 2 pick. So John Morant, he's a lead candidate last year, or I guess it's still this year, for Rookie of the Year with Zion, who was hurt and came on obviously and, showcased his ability. At the end of each of their respective careers, Ja Morant, Zion Williamson, who do you think ends up with a better career?
Unpopular opinion, Ja Morant. I mean,
I'm not
start
mad
by
at you.
saying it's probably because I'm a homer. But if you think about it, Ja Morant is he has a D Rose type skill set. He can score a little from the outside, but he's a high flying point guard with great ball skills, great hand-eye coordination, great vision. Zion, like, he's amazing to watch. Like, I love Zion, but he's a dime a dozen. He just happens to be able to jump higher. What happens when he can't jump higher? Like, where's his game going to go when a 6'9" forward loses his hops?
Yep.
I mean, he doesn't run like LeBron. I mean, he's kind of a watered-down version of LeBron, in my opinion.
Oof.
I mean, he doesn't run like him. He doesn't have the same basketball IQ as LeBron does. I mean, the kid's, 19, 20 years old. So, I mean, he could come into his own. He could develop more of a skill set. He is shooting over 40% from three. Ja Morant is shooting under 40% from three, and he's a big man as of right now. Well, I guess when the season was suspended. But if you look at their numbers, I mean, Ja Morant's averaging 17.6 a game, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. Zion's almost 24 a game, almost 7 rebounds and 2 assists. They're two completely different types of players. But Ja, he started 2 years at Murray State. Then he got drafted second overall to a team that had next to nobody. And now I know the NBA playoffs aren't exactly it's not real hard to make the playoffs in the NBA. I mean, half the league gets
especially in the East.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
but he turned a team with a lottery pick into a team fighting for a playoff spot.
right.
And he was the only big change on the team. I don't know. I just feel like it's all going to come down to who stays healthy. Whoever keeps their hops longer and whoever works harder is going to be the guy, because nobody else in that class is anything more than an NBA role player. You have RJ Barrett. He's solid, but I don't think he's ever going to be a superstar. He's going to be kind of like a Harrison Barnes, like tall, can shoot.
Yeah.
I mean, from your look on your face, I'm not sure you're a Harrison Barnes fan, or you love him and hurt.
No, he's a Warriors guy.
Option B there, bud. Yeah. Yeah, no, I love Harrison Barnes. He fit in well with the situation he was in. And, like Ja Morant, watching him play, if you watched him, and I guess most people probably started watching him, sports fans, in the NCAA tournament last year.
Yeah.
That's probably when the first time they watched him. I watched him a little bit before just because I'm from the state of Kentucky. So I'm like, oh, who the fuck's this guy who's everybody's talking about? So I've never seen, even in the NBA, I've never seen, I have, but like as young as he is in the current day, he commands the floor a lot more than Zion does. Zion is a person who, especially in the NBA, he needs a little help. Ja Morant, he's the guy. He's going to stay healthy.
Yep.
I think, he's probably going to stay healthier than Zion. So I'm totally on your side here. I like Ja Morant a lot. I think he's just once in a lifetime player who's going to, if he can improve his jump shot, which I think he will over the next couple of years. What do you think he's been doing since this COVID shit's kicked off? He's probably been working on his jump shot, because that's the weakest area of his game. It really is.
And that's what's crazy. I mean, a lot of players, they can shoot. You can't coach athleticism. You can't coach being able to throw a bounce pass one-handed, off-handed between two guys looking the other direction. Like, there's just intangibles that he has that other guys just don't possess. And so if he develops that jump shot, just like you were saying, I mean, the sky's the limit. Like, I genuinely feel like he could be like Derrick Rose minus – I pray to God minus the injuries. I hope his knees have better genetics.
Yeah, I mean, me too. That's good points. Okay, so I agree with you there. Big Ja fan, so look out for him. All right, so Drew Lock. Let's talk about him for a second. Look, the average NFL fan, Drew Lock is a complete mystery fan. You're a Mizzou fan. You've probably watched him in his NFL career with the Broncos so far, the few games he's played. What can you tell us about him that the average, like I said, NFL fan doesn't know? Or like, is he the guy? Is he going to be the guy in Denver? I mean, John Elway's up there. He's running the show. Quarterback, obviously. I obviously realize you're a Chiefs fan, but
Yeah.
Same division, that kind of thing. But what do you think? What do you think?
I'm gonna throw out some names at you.
Okay.
Paxton Lynch, Brock
Trash.
Osweiler,
Trash.
Tim Tebow.
Trash.
I don't know, the trash can outside that's on fire.
Trash.
All the guys that John Elway has picked up to play quarterback, other than Peyton Manning, have been a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
But Drew Lock, on the other hand, I don't know. I mean, I live here in Lee Summit. We frequent, like, his dad owns, or his family owns, like 3 or 4 restaurants in the area. We were at this seafood place the other day, and the guy shucking oysters was like, "Oh yeah, he's looking bulked up these days." And it's like, okay, but at the same time, he's looked like he's a 12-year-old boy since the first time he put on a Mizzou helmet. I mean, I don't know what he does, but he went 4-1. I'm not even concerned about his numbers. He went 4-1 in the NFL and the AFC West last year. Near the end of the year, had to play us. He honestly put up a fight. I mean, it was a snowy game.
Okay, yeah.
He was there. He wasn't scared. Most players, one of your first 3 starts in the NFL, you're up against Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. Like, that's a lot of weight on your shoulders to try to keep pace. And he did it. I mean, they didn't win. They weren't in the game. But at no point in that game did he look overmatched or overwhelmed. I mean, I hate to do this to you, but it wasn't the Sam Darnold effect. He wasn't seeing ghosts.
So basically, he didn't lose that game.
No. I mean,
So
Patrick Mahomes and the offense just won the game.
yeah.
I think that Drew Lock, if he gets arrogant and thinks I went 4-1, I'm all right. Like, all I have to do is be better than Brock Osweiler or better than Joe Flacco or whoever else, he's gonna fail. If he goes in and works, I mean, he's never gonna be a top flight NFL quarterback. I don't think he has it. I don't think he has the consistency. You saw that at Mizzou. His junior year, he set the SEC record for touchdown passes. Well, then his senior year, he came out and thought he was the man, like mocking the Texas coaches on the sideline, thinking he was it. Yeah, horns down.
Oh boy.
Well, you can't do that in the NFL. Your career will be ended by, I don't know, Aaron Donald, somebody.
Yeah. Myles Garrett's going to rip your helmet off and bash your skull in.
Hey, with the money Myles Garrett's about to get or got, he can do that many times.
Yeah.
Many times.
Like 49,000 times.
Yeah, something like crazy. I saw that shit.
So basically, you're not completely sold on him just yet at all.
No, I think he's going to have to prove it. Like, he's going to be a kid that has to prove it every step of the way.
Yeah.
And I say kid because, I mean, he's 25 years old, 24 years old. He's got 5 NFL starts on a team that's doing their best to rebuild. They've retooled the offense.
Yeah.
I'll say this, if he cannot be a 500 team with the running backs and receivers he has,
Jesus.
he should hang them up.
Yeah, they loaded that team.
Yeah, like every offense in the AFC West is loaded and ready to go, other than the Chargers, who are just like passing out flyers for the game to hope people come.
They're renting a stadium.
They got Austin Eckler, though. Log's is going to protect him. Austin Eckler. He's the answer.
Austin Eckler.
I mean, Austin Eckler is a great Darren Sproles wannabe.
Yes.
Hey, we'll see. All right. That's all I got. Cheech with.
All right. So to transition to baseball a little bit, the Kansas City Royals put on a show in 2015, and since that World Series championship, have had a 422 win percentage. And that was being kind and giving it back until 2015. If you look like the past 3 years, it was their win percentage like 300s. I think they were like 500 the year after the World Series, and after that, it's just been worse and worse. What does it take for the Royals to be relevant again, or were they just a one-trick pony? They had 2015 in them, and that was it.
Well, I mean, if you think about it this way, we were good in 1980. We were good in 85. We were decent in 94 when the strike shortened the season. And then after that, we were the team that the world forgot.
Yeah.
All the way up until 2013 when everybody was like, oh, you guys are 500. That's so cute. And then in 2014, we made that run. I mean, nothing about the 2014 playoff run was probable.
Mm-hmm.
The wild card game where Yordano Ventura gives up a home run. I mean, Brandon Moss hit 2 450-foot home runs in that game.
Yeah.
We stole 144 bases in that game and got Derek Norris fired, John Lester fired, and somehow won on a Salvador Perez single that was about 6 feet off the plate. And then we went on to sweep 3 teams and get to the World Series where we ran into a buzzsaw named Madison Bumgarner.
Yeah. Monster.
Then 15 came out, did our thing. But if you look at it, almost every player that played a role other than Johnny Cueto and Ben Zobrist were a result of how terrible we were for 30 years. When you have top 5 picks perennially,
Yeah.
if you're not good, just burn the city down. Like, it doesn't matter. I mean, we're about 26 years away from really making a run.
Another 26 years.
Actually,
Yeah.
I mean, to be they have no consistency. They'll win a game. I mean, Jorge Soler had one of the greatest Royals seasons of all time last year.
Yeah.
I mean, 117 RBIs, 48 home runs, absolutely destroyed the Kansas City home run record that was an abysmal 38 after Mike Moustakas. But, I mean, think about it. We're paying $16 million to Ian Kennedy, who can't start anymore, so now he's the closer with barely a sub-4 ERA, 30 saves last year. I mean, he
should
finished
be in
50.
the AAA.
Yeah, I mean, Ian Kennedy, if we had somebody else or could get out of his contract, he'd already be cut.
Yeah.
I do like Mike Matheny. I think that he got the raw end of the deal in St. Louis. I don't think that he was treated fairly there. I mean, he took him to the playoffs. But in a city like St. Louis, I mean, if you're not winning the World Series, you don't matter. So get out. Even to one of the best catchers to ever play for the organization. I think we got a lot of young talent, but if we don't find some consistency, we're not going to get there. This season, honestly, I'm calling it right now, though. On this episode, the Kansas City Royals are making it to the World Series in this 60-game season.
Ooh.
Really? Oh, I love that. Love hot takes.
Oh, that's awesome.
All it takes is to get hot for 60 games.
That's it.
That's less than a good first half of a regular season.
Yeah, I mean, they cut 100 games out. Like, that's –
Yeah. Get hot, make a run. That's all you got to do. Whoever stays healthy is going to win the World Series this year.
Yeah, that is –
I do love that stadium, though, man. I remember when I was in high school, so it's probably right after you graduated, like, we could get seats, and they weren't good yet. So it was right before the 2014 season. So, like, 2010, 2011, you could get good seats, like, right along the baseline on a weekday. We would skip school, and it would be, like, $5. The StubHub fee would be like $3. You get $8 seats during the weekday right there. I love the waterfall, cheap beer. I love all that. I love Kauffman Stadium.
I have Kauffman Stadium tattooed on my back. Like,
nice.
I am a diehard.
Nice.
The Kauffman is dope. Kauffman
if
Stadium
I wasn't fat and hairy, I'd show you. But that's the thing. Like, I mean, Kauffman Stadium is one of the most beautiful stadiums in the country.
It's real nice. I went to a game there.
I mean, back during the run, like during 2013, 14, 15, when you were in that stadium, it was like you were at Arrowhead.
Yeah.
I mean,
such a great experience.
The Midwest has a lot of flaws, but when it comes to our sports,
we show up.
We know how to handle things.
Big facts.
All right, so the next thing I got for you, going to a little bit of MMA here. Conor McGregor obviously announced his retirement. And you were supposed to be on the show a few weeks ago. We missed out on a few opportunities, both your side and our side. So this might have fallen off some people's radars. But I want to just remind them, Conor McGregor retired. Is it for real this time or not?
Hell no. Conor McGregor is the king of the publicity stunt. If he retires, that next offer is going to be bigger because Dana needs him.
Yeah.
Can you name 5 prolific stars in the UFC right now?
I can't because I don't.
No, yeah. I mean, like,
that's the thing. Like back when we were in high school, you guys are a little younger than me, I think, but back in like 06 through 2010, you had Chuck Liddell, you had Vanderlei Silva, you had Tim Silva, you had all these guys that like were bigger than the sport because the sport had just hit its peak.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, there's a handful of guys that they're fun to watch, but I mean, do you know who Israel Adesanya is?
I've heard that last name before.
I mean,
Hell no.
He's the best fighter in the UFC now that John Jones is, I don't know, doing coke off a hooker's asshole or something. I don't know.
Oh, Johnny Bones Jones.
Hey, respect to John Bones there.
I mean, I love the guy. Don't get me wrong, but at some point you got to be like, oh, I'm the greatest in the world. You know what? I'm going to make one more mistake and see if I can get away with it.
Yeah.
Like, come on. But
So
Conor McGregor, the second he gets offered $100 million to fight a grizzly bear, he's going to do it. It doesn't – I mean, it doesn't
That's a
matter.
tough fight.
Honestly, I think he's going to, I don't know, gas himself out in the first round and then get knocked out in the 10th. I mean, that was the Mayweather. I'm sorry. What I'm thinking of, I don't know. I think if he gets his rematch against long Russian name, can't pronounce, wears the blonde wig.
Yep.
If he gets that rematch, he's coming back hands down because that's a pride thing. Conor McGregor loves his legacy. He loves his pride, and he loves whiskey.
Do you think that if Mayweather wants to fight again, he's going to go back into the boxing ring?
I think he's going to make a lot of noise and then no.
No.
Yeah.
Even if they ask him first?
Huh?
Even if they ask him first. Say Mayweather calls him out in boxing before UFC wants to call him back.
I don't think he'll do it. I mean,
No.
like I said, pride and legacy are huge for Conor McGregor. And that hurt his legacy. He was on top of the MMA world. And now look, like he has to retire 3 times for people to talk about him right now. I mean,
exactly,
and I love the guy. Like he's what has brought a whole new sect of MMA fans into the UFC because he's arrogant, he's cocky, but he's also down to earth. Like there's a documentary called Notorious, and it kind of follows his run for a while. And like I respect him more after watching that because you see how he's a superstar, but he's been with the same woman since he was living in a 1-bedroom apartment and had no money in Belfast. Like,
yeah, I've seen that, yeah.
There's things to respect about him because, like, he makes a lot of noise. He's a showman. But then, like, behind the scenes, like, he's like any one of us. He just happens to have the ability to kill people.
Just beat the dog shit out of them.
Yeah.
So,
I mean.
So did you watch UFC 251 Fight Island?
I did not. I was not able to watch it. We had the boys, so we didn't. They're with us half the time and with their dad half the time, so we didn't watch it. But I heard that it was a waste of $60.
It was a good card, man. It was. A lot of people were talking about how Max Holloway got kind of robbed. The third round is kind of up. So Max Holloway won rounds 1 and 2. The title man run rounds 4 and 5. Round 3 was where it was up to. So if you ever get a chance to watch that, just let us know your take on that, man.
I mean, that's really all I've done through quarantine because like you watch a rerun of a baseball game, you're bored. Watch a rerun of a basketball game, you're like, all right, like he's gonna make this jump shot.
A rerun of a baseball game?
Exactly.
I could sit behind home plate row 1, and I don't think I would make it 6 innings.
Yeah,
He lives in baseball program.
Nobody wants to watch a live baseball game, and you're watching reruns.
He lives in Phoenix, so he's spoiled, man. He gets to go to all the spring training games.
I do.
I would
For
kill
free.
for that.
Might I?
But I mean,
Phoenix is a great place.
UFC reruns. Not everybody's seen every fight. I literally watched UFC 4 the other day.
Nice.
when
Yeah.
you had guys bare knuckle brawling, one guy with one boxing glove on, one bare fist. Like, it was the wild, wild west. The only rules were no crotch shots and no eye gouging.
Now you got the fence rule where you can't pry. You got all kinds of shit going on, depending on the state.
So UFC's kind of been the only thing carrying all of us sports fanatics through this bullshit.
Yep.
I watched a little bit of NASCAR, but it's hard, man.
I'm not gonna lie.
We were betting on NASCAR.
We bet
so
on
were just
NASCAR.
like, we needed
We
something.
needed
We were
something.
betting on NASCAR.
Yeah.
I mean, that left turn was pretty slick, followed by the
It
other left.
was.
It was the most intense fucking left turns I've watched in my entire life.
It's been tough, and the UFC without the crowd, I think, is really awesome too. As a fan at home watching TV, because you get to hear the coaches, you get to hear it's really cool to actually like watch that. I mean, obviously they're losing millions
And millions.
of dollars, so I mean, but
Well, I mean, think about it. Like, I used to fight, like, for a little bit, like 30 seconds. I thought I was tough and decided I wanted to. And, like, you don't hear the crowd anyways. It's
yeah.
not something that – I mean, when you're getting punched in the face repeatedly, you are not worried about, like, your
Crowd noise.
best friend's Uncle George over there screaming. It doesn't matter.
it's just survival at that point, huh?
Yeah, for real. You hear that cage lock and you're like, oh, cool. I have to win now or I'm going to go to the hospital.
Don't want to die.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Well, so real quick, who wins the Super Bowl this year?
Kansas City, hands down.
Every guest.
All of them.
So I think every single guest that we've interviewed and who's came on this show, we've asked that question, and they've all said the Chiefs. And I think it's pretty me and Cheech both too. I think Gibby doesn't want to be biased, so he'll probably be like, "Oh, the fucking somebody else."
Yeah.
He knows that the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. So
He's being humble.
yeah, he's trying to be humble, but really, I mean, come on, who the fuck else is going to beat this team?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be Chiefs versus Saints. Chiefs win 41-28.
All right.
All right, you heard it here first.
Yeah. I'm gonna put that score down in Vegas, and I'm gonna bank on it.
I think
Hey, you do that, and if you win, I get 10%.
Hey, I'll happily do that.
Oh, shit. I don't think the Saints make the Super
He doesn't
Bowl.
think the Saints win the division. What do you think about Tom Brady and the Bucks?
Look, let me hold on. Time out. Let's stop for a second.
Backstory.
Backstory.
The Saints are a really good football team. They have a Hall of
Very
Fame
good.
quarterback for sure. They have the
Hall of Fame wide
99.
receiver.
Yes, great. Alvin Kamara
Solid
is gonna,
running back. Yeah.
Solid running back.
I'm
Good
just
O
saying-
line.
Yeah.
All right, let
Pretty
him
good
talk.
defense. Yeah. All right, continue.
Look, they're gonna be there, but I think that with the experience that the Bucks have, the amount of possessions they're gonna have as opposed to last year, they're gonna win like 3 or 4, 5, 6 more games than they won last year. I don't see the Saints. I don't see Drew Brees playing a whole year
He's
and
not.
being. Yeah, well, yeah, I know. I don't see him playing 16 games and being like a Pro Bowl quarterback. No chance. Watch him this year. I bet he throws 3 or 4 passes over 10 yards, and I just don't see the Saints
The
being
whole
the team.
season.
Yes,
You're literally
absolutely,
comparing
absolutely.
2 players almost ready for their AARP card.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But why do you think Michael Thomas had so many receptions last year? Michael Thomas had 149 receptions, 185
That's amazing,
targets last year. That was
That's-
60 more than the second most receptions last year. Why do you think that is? Because Drew Brees can't throw a pass more than 10 yards. So I don't see that being something that can be stamina throughout the season. The Bucks are going to win that division, and the Saints are going to fall through. Unless, they pulled some wizardry last year with Drew Brees getting hurt. Perfect situation for the Saints. Oh, perfect. So that's my take on it.
I got a question for you based on that.
Yep.
All right.
Can't wait.
Who do you think led the Chiefs in targets last year, and how many do you think there were?
Oh God. Fuck. Let's see.
Ty-
I'm gonna
I'll give you a
say
hint. Tyreek
no.
missed 6 games.
No. I know. I'm gonna say. Was it Damian Williams?
No. Travis Kelce, who had, I believe it was
forgot about that.
138 targets.
Jesus.
That's a tight end only having 50 less than Michael Thomas, who is the only receiving threat in New Orleans. So if you look at it that way, I mean, they have Emmanuel Sanders this year. I mean, you run 1 vert, 2 drag routes every time. Let Jared Cook use his walker, get out to the flats. I mean, honestly, like, I think you're underestimating what the Saints are going to do. I think Drew Brees has one more ride in him. But
like I said,
They'll be playing that
I
song
love their
every
skill
game.
possessions. I like that the rookie running back who received punts last year. What was his name? I can't think of it. Lewis.
don't know.
Nope. I don't know. He returned punts last year. I like him as a receiver coming on this year. Michael Thomas is a beast, but man.
But is Michael Thomas a beast for a team that doesn't throw to him 180 times a year?
Not as much of a beast.
I mean,
I don't think
I
so.
think he's overrated, to be honest.
No, me too. I'm with you on that. I think he's a crybaby. I think he
hates Michael Thomas.
Yeah, I'm not a Michael Thomas guy.
His ego is
Literally
so
calling it crybaby in another episode.
Every single episode. I think like 3 or 4 episodes I've called him crybaby.
If he comes up, he says crybaby.
Crybaby.
Yeah, it's
Fuck that
crybaby.
guy.
I mean, he's gonna get the looks. He's gonna get the targets. I respect the guy. He's definitely like broke a lot of records, but we'll see what the Saints do. I still like the Chiefs in the long run.
I mean, I'm not talking you out of that. I do too. But
I
I just don't trust Brady.
I don't
At all.
trust Brady either.
I trust Brady more than I trust Breeze.
Which
Really?
they're the same age. It's just
They're the
crazy.
same.
Brady's
Yeah,
a
so it's not like a
quarterback.
far-fetched thing for me to trust Brady over Breeze.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
My thing is, Breeze has guys that can hit the short routes. Brady has guys that want long balls.
Yeah. Godwin's blowing defenses up because he's just running past them. And Mike Evans is just catching anything over anyone.
He literally got a quarterback who was high on coke his whole life, drafted in the first round.
Yep.
Yep.
Hey, it'll be that division is super interesting to me. So we'll see.
I mean, this year, I pray myself to sleep every night that COVID goes away. Because if we don't have
Same.
football season,
oh
we
my
will.
God.
I'll lay in bed and cry in the fetal position.
Yep, same.
Same.
This season
Oh,
has so
baby
many
Jesus.
interesting storylines, and it could be like one of the most epic NFL seasons in the last 20 years.
Facts.
Yeah, I mean, do I think do I think Chris Godwin, Mike Evans perform at the level they did last year? Absolutely not, in my opinion. But hey, that division is going to be interesting. The NFL, like you said, is going to be interesting in itself. I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. We
Finally.
appreciate you, and man, we'll have to get you back on if the Chiefs go 13-0 or something stupid like that. So
Hey, we're undefeated till we lose.
That's right.
that's a fact right there. But all right, man. We'll take care, and we'll get you back on here soon. All right.
All right, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.